ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 256th episode of the Geekverse podcast. Nice. I am the Mandalorian, Trust Nell.
Wow.
Took the easy route.
You did take the easy route. I am a Jedi on the run, Taylor Field.
I am also the Mandalorian. Kyle Smith.
Wow, just pain in the ass. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as you've probably heard from those two nicknames, we're talking about those two things. It's a wrap-up for Star Wars Celebration, but a few things. If you're listening to this to the day of, you can head over to our Facebook because we'll be streaming a bunch of Star Wars games. It's going to be fun. We just got lots of stuff on the docket. We're going to be changing all over. We might try and play some pod racing. I'm very excited for that.
Oh, nice.
And they're live now. X-Men Retros are now live on Patreon. So
hit it up, watch it.
Oh, Kyle spoiled it, but Kyle and Kirkland are joining me for this retro. We're reviewing every X-Men from X-Men to Days of Future Past because we reviewed the other ones. Right now, they're on Patreon at just the dollar amount, and they'll go live for the public after Avengers Endgame. But if you want to get in there, there's some good ones. We're about to do X3, but X2 is pretty spicy. And then I can announce for Dylan because Dylan will be back soon. But the Geekverse Gauntlet second episode will be premiering April 27th, so the day after Avengers Endgame. That's a sports tourney. We can talk about that now. Taylor, I beat you. We'll talk about what you did to me another time. But I'm versing the winner of Clinton and Saris. They're playing, I can't remember what they're playing. I think it's SCX Sporting. Is that a game?
I know.
It's like SCX, like Tricky or something.
Yeah,
it's a snowboard game.
SSX.
Yeah,
there you
SS
go.
Tricky.
That's
It's
like I don't know. But
PS1 snowboarding game.
they're
It's
playing.
Beautiful thing.
They're playing that, and then the winner of that in that same episode is versus me in a best of three, and then the winner of that in the future will get a shot at Kirkland. And it's good. I can't spoil anything, can't say anything, so just look out for clips there. Do you guys have anything to say? Taylor, got anything to plug?
Just gonna plug those polls. We're in Game of Thrones right now. It's a wild time. So if you weren't following, we just finished up the DC poll, but we're in Game of Thrones now. And
Kyle rarely votes on the polls.
I sometimes vote.
That's why I said rarely.
I vote for the one who's obviously losing.
Wow. And Taylor also did a Hellboy review.
yeah, I did do a Hellboy review. It's not Lost in the Dark. You know, our average is like 500 an episode, and Hellboy trucked along to 500.
Our average is higher now.
It is higher?
Yeah, that's not for the listeners, but I did the math.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But you know what's for the
Quick
listeners?
maths.
This breakdown of we're going to just be talking about Mandalorian and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So let's start with Mandalorian. We tried our best. We were not at the panel. We were hoping like the entire weekend. Episode 9, we got a trailer. The game, we got a trailer. We were hoping we get a trailer for this. We didn't, but we /did because the internet is a glorious thing and there's leaked footage. So let's talk about, we can talk about it kind of all in general, but we can talk about, and we're trying our best because it's from a person's phone in the crowd. Yeah. But let's talk about the teaser. I'm going to start with you, Kyle, because did you know the show existed till today?
I had no idea that they were doing a show until today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty exciting. Like, you're just watching the teaser. Like, I don't know, like we were just talking about this earlier before the cast. Is like, what a time to be alive! Like, for all these Star Wars like movies, now shows and games. Like, this is intense and it's amazing. I'm really excited. So I'm interested to see what they do with the show and like how they film it. And like, there's a lot of work that has to go into making these sets and costumes. So for this to be a full-time TV show, like that's, you know, it just shows the dedication that everybody has to it.
Taylor, do you remember if they've said how many episodes? It's small, right?
I thought it was like no more than like 10 or something like that.
I think it's anywhere they've said from 6 to 10, and they're all rumors. So it's not going to be long, and which is good because I don't even think it'll be like Daredevil Iron Fist length of 13. So I honestly think it's going to be 8. I really do because I've heard they're pretty expensive.
They're probably
budgets.
like an hour and a half each, I would assume.
I wouldn't go that. I'd say like a high 40 minutes.
Yeah. Really?
Well, look at the Game of Thrones until this season. They're always like around 50 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then like the bigger episodes were about an hour. Yeah. Take your fucking glasses off.
I like them. I like the glasses. That's why I keep laughing.
I'm keeping them on.
So I think they'll all be about 50. Other than I'd say maybe the premiere and like the finale could be an hour, but I don't think they'll be an hour and a half. What you're hoping for? That's big.
I hope so. I'd love that.
Well, then I guess you're just getting
a
mini movie.
Yeah.
I'll take a mini movie.
A mini movie, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, what a time. No, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do, right? Like, again, like 40 minutes, and they definitely could build up a story and like over long term, like another year, new stuff that will come out.
And they it's not been announced, but it's rumored they've already been renewed for a second season. So it sounds like they're happy with the show. So
yeah.
Well,
we were just talking about like some of the directors that they have as well too, and the actors and actresses. So Like those look all pretty interesting, but I'll let you guys talk about this.
Well, because before Taylor goes, I was talking about Kyle this offcast. Is this something that is going to get you to purchase the Disney app when it premieres November 12th?
You know, maybe because it looks very good,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
And we still haven't seen like a nice quality trailer. I think when we see the full, like if they release that, it'll be a bit better.
I think I might bite the bullet
Mhm.
and just $7 for the month just to watch. But unless they do one of those episodes where it's like one a week, like Netflix is doing, or one every few weeks, which is
Yeah.
quite possible, right?
They haven't. I was disappointed in that in this panel. They didn't announce if it was going to be a binge show or if it was going to be a weekly show. They haven't said that at all. And
Yeah.
I see both ways. Like for myself, I want the binge show, but for them, because DC does the same thing where it's weekly shows,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they do that just so people will stay subscribed to it more, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they have to worry. I think it's Disney, and honestly, I think Kyle will say he's not going to do this, but I think Kyle would. You're going to look at the month, but you're going to see other stuff that's on there, and you're just going to pay the $70 and get the whole year, because then you're going to see like a Loki preview or a Hawkeye preview or like a Falcon and Bucky. Like something else will grab your attention because it's Disney, and they've already announced they're making a second Star Wars show for this.
Yeah.
I don't. This will not. Well, maybe it will excite you. They're making. You remember Cassian from Rogue One and the robot?
Yeah.
They're getting their spin-off show.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And it is rumored that Obi-Wan is getting a show with you and coming back.
That this is like I'm trying to think like how do they have the money to do all of this, and then it's like, oh right, they're
Infinity
Disney
War,
and
Endgame,
yeah,
Last Jedi,
and like the time and like finding all these directors, and this is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts. So
Mhm.
we'll see what happens.
Taylor, what do you think about this leaked? I think you can just talk about the teaser and the footage because it's kind of all in one. So
I think Disney makes all the money from the Marvel movies, and they test out the directors and the Marvel stuff, and then they're like, okay, now we'll bring you to the Star Wars stuff.
that's a lie. The Last Jedi and Force Awakens made, and actually Rogue One. Rogue One has made $1 billion as well. So those three,
really?
Yeah, Solo's the only one that kind of underperformed, but all those movies make. That's why everyone like kind of tries to spin it. The Last Jedi was disappointing. If you didn't like the movie, that's fine. But money wise, it was not. Like it
fine.
made less than Force Awakens, but I think we were all expecting that. Now people spin it's like, oh, that just shows people hate the movie. It's like, no, it just didn't match that hype of like Star Wars is back, right?
Yeah,
So
it's true.
they make lots of money from Star Wars, Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that was definitely a good buy from Disney.
They only got Star Wars for $4 billion.
So they made their money back.
They've already made it back. Yeah,
That's
they made it back
insane.
about
only
last
$4
year.
billion.
Yeah.
Holy.
Because if at that time it was a lot, but now with the juggernaut that Disney's become with just Disney, and then you got Marvel and Star Wars, now it's like they're gonna make that with Endgame. You know?
Yeah.
Imagine if
with
we
the
just
two Avengers movies paid for Star Wars. You know.
if at the time we just pooled all our money together, you never know.
Oh yeah.
All our money, yeah, and then have nothing. Great.
Wow.
Taylor, what do you think about this?
Um,
Obviously, you're excited because you're a big Django and Boba Fett
I love
fan.
me the Fets.
You're one of those people that don't understand that Boba Fett is a lame ass character
Oh, he's
because
definitely
he
far
just
from
looks
that.
cool. And what happens in Return of the Jedi? He just he gets beat by
You
a
know
blind
what?
guy.
They were saying in at the panel, Mandalorian, he just looks cool, and that's a huge thing for me. They bear that
it is
that
for Taylor.
that knight's look or whatever to their helmet and everything.
Medieval
but
knight, he said.
yeah, no, I'm very excited for this show. Ever since they dropped that image of the Mandalorian like ages ago, it's just like, oh, this is great. I need something else to salivate for because this is just so like juicy and just cool. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of Django, huge fan of Boba, and I've been wanting something because there's so much story and kind of lore behind Mandalorians in general, like pre Clone Wars, and then even during the Clone Wars and post Clone Wars, there's so much Mandalorian stuff happening, and so to see it happening now in live action.
And for you, because you didn't get a chance to watch the panel, John and Dave, they said that they were going to be penciling the stuff that we don't know. So, like, where were they in the OG trilogy and in between? So, and I guess I can tell us for Kyle Main Street people, because I didn't even know this because I have to watch the Clone Wars with this guy. Check out that series. Boba Fett and Jango Fett, they're actually like a whole race of people. Like a whole, well, I guess not. I guess it's a
Are you
race.
talking about the Mandalorians?
Are they a race technically, or
Well, their species is human, but
yeah,
then
what are they like?
their race, I would say, is Mandalorian, like their culture. And all
Okay,
that,
so yeah, so they're like a whole group of people, and they've
Oh,
kind of
I
all
see.
gone missing. But they said they're gonna like in the show pencil in some of those details. So
Oh,
yeah,
well, that's good.
yeah, the fact that Dave Filoni is like has such a large piece that he's handling of this show. Like he is amazing. He does wonders in in like the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
and Star Wars Rebels. So to have
For
him
people that don't know, Dave Filoni ran Clone Wars and everything.
cowboy hat.
Everything that is Star Wars animated.
Yeah.
He is on the show as like a creator, but he's doing live action for the first time in his career. So they've
Mhm.
brought a lot of the people that deal with the Star Wars lore on the show, and then they also the other person that's co-doing it with him, or is really doing it, is Jon Favreau, who did Jungle Book. He's doing Lion King and then Iron Man. He's like the showrunner director of this series. So they got lots of talent behind
Yeah,
this.
Dave is just has such attention to detail and respect and care for the lore and the history of Star Wars. So what he's bringing to the table and him getting a live action series to work with, I think is just fantastic. He deserves it, and there's no one else I would trust to work with John over a project like
Not
this.
George Lucas?
I'm sure they can consult. Pull a JJ behind Kathy's back.
Wow, I don't think it was behind her back.
I know.
Do you have anything else to say? This teaser too? You haven't really spoke about that?
The teaser looked fantastic. The
From
whole
what we could see.
From what we could see, yeah. God forbid a zoom in, zoom out kind of situation, but like
And the kid crying in the
and
background.
the kid crying.
Hey, at least we got to see it, okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. No, it was good.
But I think though the whole atmosphere, and I've been saying aesthetic this weekend a lot, but the whole aesthetic of this trailer just felt like
Take
Rogue
a shot.
One.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of Rogue One, my favorite Star Wars movie to date, and this
It-
just felt like it.
Wait,
felt
Rogue
like it.
One is your favorite Star Wars movie to
I think
date?
it did everything
You don't
so
know
right.
that?
No.
No,
Yeah.
it did. It did such a perfect nod to the originals, and just it felt like Star Wars in every which way.
One thing that is funny, though, saying it has a Rogue One feel, this is a long ways away from Rogue One, though, timelines-wise. This is 6 or 5 years after
yeah,
Return of the
it
Jedi.
absolutely is. And even so, like just when he's walking through the cantina, there's all these aliens that look so much like from A New Hope,
Yeah.
from the cantina scene.
We had
and it just
Twilight's
feels
in
good.
there. We had
oh
Jawas.
yeah, Twilight's
We
back.
had,
the
who is
Jawa.
that guy? You'd know he's kind of yellowish skin, but he has those horns.
Yeah, the devil-looking guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
saw him too. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this guy's back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but yeah, IG-88. Just that scene where he's spinning around shooting. That's just such. I've seen it so many times in the Clone Wars, and just to see that live action for a change, it's like this is unbelievable. Like it's just so fantastic. But I heard another thing too that they're using. Like from the OG trilogy, they're using like miniature scales or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, that's a huge pro for me.
Well, and that's a big thing. They showed this one that we did get to see. They showed them like that's how we saw his ship, the Razor's Crest, and everything like that. But the good thing with technology nowadays, 3D printing, they can make it so quick and have it there and kind of look at it and play with it. So yeah, they had like they're doing the old school like we're making models and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, other than that, just the character looks cool. The trailer felt really dark, really gritty. I'm super excited to see how the Empire is trying to manage and enforce themselves in this part of the galaxy, far away from, the news of like the Emperor dying and all that stuff. Well, the Emperor,
you never know.
the
You
Emperor
never know.
going for a sleep.
No
but,
one's ever really gone.
But the trailer just has me excited. I'll easily, if this is available in North America, this is easily a year purchase for me. I have no reason why I would not invest in
Yeah, they
this
got us,
with
though.
everything. So, and plus, I'm a fan of Cassian Andor, so I'll watch that show for sure.
Yeah, now I really got you because now because the rumor is right now, Kyle, that Disney Plus won't be launching in Canada day one.
Oh,
But,
really?
I know somebody that can hook me up and whatnot. But Taylor's not he's not down to doing hook me up. So
Oh, I see.
he's like, oh, I'll have to come over here to your place to watch it. So I'm trying to borrow his Switch for like a week or something.
He's trying to
Really?
fuck me.
No.
Right over.
It's a fair trade.
It is.
It's a pretty good trade, Matt.
He's such an asshole.
But I still have to come over to your house to watch Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing that we'll get into
not the
that after.
worst
I'll make
thing.
this point, but the teaser trailer I really liked. The thing I liked that they were talking about on the panel that these guys didn't see, that Jon Favreau and David, they're talking about how this is really, it's trying to incorporate all fans, incorporate people that he said he's take the same approach they did with this, they did with Iron Man, where he wanted to bring in new people, but for fans of the OG content or the original material, that's really for you. And I don't think it's a way where it's going to cut people off, but he said if you're a fan of Star Wars for 40 years, you're going to love this because we put lots of details into it and everything.
Yeah.
I think the Mandalorian is like a bounty hunter for a TV show. I think that's a good idea to do. The teaser trailer looked great. My only hope is, and it's just because of two things. One, I can't fairly judge it because it's the cam footage, and it's also because it's early in effects. It's like you look at Star Wars, the Episode 9 trailer, those few shots, they know they've been planning to show those for months, and they've been working on those. This is a TV show. It works so much different. They're dealing with much episodes. So I could see some stuff not looking great, and not anything any really looked bad. It was just the starships at some point looked a little TV, and that's my only concern is I think the story looks great. They got good actors. They got good directors. I just hope that it is looking like, and we've seen it with Game of Thrones, so hopefully, and I honestly, I don't know why I'm worried, because it's Disney, it's Star Wars, they're launching the app, so they're going to want to make it look good. I think I'm just worried because it's the first time we've had a TV show of Star Wars, right? So I just never want a moment.
Live action,
I don't ever want a moment where I'm watching and be like, oh, this feels like TV Star Wars, even if the story's good, everything. And I think once we see the show, and if that doesn't happen, I'll never worry about that ever again. I just, for the first time, all the on-ground combat looked good. The only stuff was like when a certain Starfire went by. Hey, so one time a TIE Fighter went by, it looked good.
Perfect.
But then there was that first shot when it was those two like fighting, and that looked a little iffy. So, and honestly, that could just be effects. That happens all the time. I remember when Spider-Man's suit was shown, it was CG. It's like, oh, that looks bad. And in the movies, it looks pretty good for the most part. So
when we can watch the trailer not through screen of someone else's screen in a dark theater.
And that might be the reason, too, why they didn't want to release it to the public, right? Because it's an early look. It's not done. They don't want to release something that's not looking the greatest for us to be like, oh, this doesn't look good. Where at least when you're in the crowd, you know this is like a sneak peek, right? So that's where I'm not holding that. That's just always a worry of mine. But it looks great. That shot in the trailer, it got me of just doing things like the stormtrooper they're fighting, and he just breaks that stormtrooper's mask. I've never seen that in all the years of Star Wars.
100%.
Like, you think you'd see that, so that's fun. What
they do show it in Rogue One a bit when Chirrut is with a stick. They show him smashing pieces of the stormtrooper's helmet. But remember, that's not as brutish as actual club fucking smashing.
There's
I think this was like
helmet
a lot more not aggressive, but like not R-rated, but just more
brutish.
Yeah, brutal. Then like
brutish, is that a word?
Brutish, more brutal. Just because like we're used to like the Star, it's kind of like G-rated, like family friendly, and to have that kind of really dig in like with that head, it's like, oh, like that was a little much from like a usual Star Wars film.
It looks more down dirty. You have to show me this Rogue One clip, because I don't remember seeing a stormtrooper's helmet ever like crack like that.
Well, you see like pieces of little pieces like fly off and stuff like that.
But that's what I mean. Like, is it kind of like from the back or from the side?
It's from a side angle. It's not direct on like this scene is, which is
and I don't
great.
even think it's like it has to be radar. It's just the aesthetic of seeing that mass explode. But it looks great. Just that last scene we were talking about, like IG-8 when he's flipping around. At one point, it looks like there's a bunch of troopers. There's a bunch of bounty hunters, and they did say at the beginning of the footage that he simply just starts as a Mandalorian that's just out there looking for money. And I think it's gonna be like Logan, every like Western tale where it's a gunslinger where he's just minding his own business and he gets wrapped up into some sort of,
business.
Some business that's not his own, and he has a heart of his own. Because that was one thing I did throw me off last night. They have all these banners at Star Wars Celebration, and they had this villain banner where it had like Darth Maul, Kylo Ren, Vader, and the Mandalorian was on it, and I was very surprised. But I think that he's gonna kind of be more villainish at the start, but I think he's gonna turn around probably.
Yeah, well, that's something we were talking about, because Mandalorians in general, even like in Legends and in the back in like the Old Republic era, like Mandalorians, they were bad. They didn't like the Jedi. They didn't like the Sith. They were just their own warring race. And even in like Clone Wars, like as you've seen, like there's the extremist group who are the old school Mandalorians, and like it's just who they are. So that's why I take it as, there's probably a lot of them that are still probably a little bit like, fuck you, I'm gonna fight and make my own way and my own living.
And the two other things I have to shout is one, like, I think aesthetically he just looks great. There's your word, Taylor. That gun that he has, I think Star Wars has some of the best weapons, and it's just a super long. I doubt that's the gun he uses all the time, but I love it's like almost like a sniper rifle, but just that end like hooks, whatever they got on it.
You know where it's from, right?
It's from the Star Wars special.
Yeah,
Boba
Fett's OG rifle.
It's strange. Jon Favreau shouted that out. It's like a kids thing they did in the 80s. It's hailed as one of the worst Star Wars things ever, but they've added this gun in there. So.
Boba Fett's gun,
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There's one guy too at one point. That's where there's another shot that didn't look the greatest, but I like the look he was shooting. But then he also had this like turret on his shoulder that was
the
also
Predator
shooting.
turret.
Yeah, that's true. But it was cool. So that's why I like that. It looked like a good mix of new and old stuff we had never seen before. Whether it's just shots of the stormtroopers' helmet breaking, or those are aliens. I know those are like the how do they pronounce the dewbacks? Those things they ride.
But these ones actually didn't have like front legs. Like they were like a biped. But
that's what I mean. Like it looks like similar things we've seen before, right? And that's what I'm very excited. I think we'll talk about this coming up next, but I'm excited for the timeline as well, because I'm just so tired of stuff in between 3 and 4. It's just because we've just done it so much. Rogue One, Solo,
I
other
told
games.
you, yeah, you're done with it.
Well, I've been done with it for a while, you know. It's just because it's not a time that really interests me too much, you know, because it's just like the Empire was in control and they were in control till Luke showed up, you know. Like we always know the outcome of these stories. With this guy, we have no idea because in between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, what is that, 30
empty years. We
Yeah.
don't know what's going down.
Who knows what happens, you know? So
That's true.
there's lots of potential. And Taylor, the other thing I was gonna ask you, that one trooper that had a flamethrower, he had some red stripes on him. Were you getting some like clone trooper vibes going on?
Yeah. Whenever I see stormtroopers rocking different colors or different pauldrons and stuff, it gives me goosebumps.
Why do you think that is now? And because you're a big canon junkie at Thirsty, what do you think the state of the Empire is right now? So Emperors died, they lost the second Death Star.
At this point, you know, the only part of the galaxy was the inner regions that basically were under the Empire's grip. The outer regions out here, they didn't have much going on. They were their own kind of thing, and the Empire wasn't really there, you know, to enforce their law and their way of life. So these people are living their own kind of bounty hunting ways, and I think, you know, the Empire is dead and the Empire is kind of scattered out for a little bit. I think you have governors kind of pushing out to the outer reaches and just thinking, okay, we're going to establish ourselves and reinforce these areas. And that's exactly what the Empire did. They went out to the outer reaches, like look at Jakku. You know, they branched out and they even went further than that. They went as far as Starkiller Base. So they knew that was how they were going to survive because the rebellion was amassing too much power. So I think it's probably some governor that's just, you know, taken what he has and just kind of made a home in this kind of planet or this town. And he's, trying to just settle in, which I think is super cool. It just reminds me, there's so many things in this trailer that reminded me of Star Wars Rebels in a way of just, you know, the Empire is trying to, put their hold on a system, and you just have this group of people that are defying them and standing up, and may not be exactly like for reasons of good, like in Rebels. I'm excited to see it as this point of view with the bounty hunter and stuff like that. I think it's going to be, like you said, like a whole bunch of wrong plays at the wrong time coming together and forcing these people to act in certain situations, which I think is great. That's one of the things that made Han Solo such a cool character is, you know, he wanted to leave Hoth, but he had to stick around. He wanted to leave Yavin 4, but he ended up sticking around, you know. So I think that really adds more to character development.
Anything else to add on trailer, guys?
No.
I'm excited. It looks great.
It
I
looks
want to
good.
see a full, nice trailer for us so I can get a better idea of it.
Yeah.
But, and then now we're going to move over to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But before we do that, there's a conversation I want to have because, Mandalorian's coming out November 12th. And then you have this game has been announced November 15th. And then Star Wars Episode 9 is coming out, December 16th? And I'll let you ask Kyle the question because you're so worried about.
And then we also get Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 7 cartoon, which is brought back in between, I think, November, December. They said end of 2019.
Yeah, so
Well, it's like end of 2019 is like the year of Star Wars.
Yeah, so basically you have a Star Wars feature film coming out in December. Then you have a Star Wars, a large Star Wars video game coming out on PC, PS4,
all the consoles,
and
except for
all the
Switch.
consoles. And then you have basically like a kids Star Wars cartoon, something for the kids. And then you have
Clone Wars is for the kids, eh?
Well, it's a cartoon, you know, but then you have animation, yeah. Then you have Star Wars Mandalorian on the Disney app, which also drops around that time. So how do you feel? Do you think that, like you personally, do you feel like this is overwhelming?
Well, I kind of like relate it back to Marvel and all the shows that they put out as well too, kind of all at once. But I guess Marvel, what they've done is over the entire year instead of within 2 months. Like that's a lot of Star Wars to go through, and it'd be nice, like, you know, you get like a 1 month of like a couple months break between each one, but it's still exciting to have everything come out at once. I don't know. It's just I guess bring it on.
See, he's excited.
Well, how do you feel in the sense that, you know, because the way I see it is that you have these CEOs and all these like shareholders that are excited in the sense that Disney is literally dominating every different kind of market in this time. They're going to have that number one game, hopefully, that number one movie, number one TV show, kids and adults.
Okay, now you're kind of pitching your argument, though. You're not being a middleman right now.
No, that's middleman. I laid it out, and now he gets to interpret it.
Okay.
I think Disney's not really caring. Like overall, they have older shows during the entire year, and so it's like all these new things that are coming out. So if Star Wars is their December end of year time, then why not? Like they're their own company; they could do whatever they want, and they're gonna make like just as much money. Like for us as like specifically like Star Wars fans, you feel like I gotta wait till like the end of the year for all of this stuff. But at the same time, like you have all of November, December, like October to watch all of this stuff.
Not October.
Not October, just November,
it's
December.
all November, December.
Yeah, so then all November, December to watch all of the stuff and be hyped on it, and you've now collected all your fan base to that, and that's where you're gonna generate your last quarter of money.
So now I'm going to break into my side.
That's a fair point.
It is. My whole thing is I don't understand why I just feel that it is too much Star Wars too fast for being November in the same week, 3 days apart, The Mandalorian comes out and then the game comes out. Why not even put that a week after? And I know maybe they don't have much talking points. Maybe they don't know the companies when things are coming out. But I think especially if that series comes out and it's an entire binge series and then the game comes out, I do think not the majority of Star Wars fans will go out there, but I still think one kind of suffers. Clone Wars, I think, is going to me, which could be, they could showcase that. And there is a part of me that wonders if it gets pushed to 2020. But if it is this year, as an animated show comes out, going to have some episodes, you could showcase that for kids and whatnot. I feel like it's going to get lost in the shuffle. And then you got episode 9. The good thing is, if it's all great, then people are just hyped and hyped and hyped. Yeah. I just think why not put one of those things in October? You know, I just think like a game,
the game in
movie,
October would be good.
Yeah, a game, a movie, like a TV show for children, but still 2 TV shows at the same time, and their first live action one being the other one. I just think in a span of literally a month, because that's November 12th to December 16th, literally in a month. Yeah. That's a lot of Star Wars, and that's a lot of money too. Like you got the app, games are what for us $80 now, and then at least the shows are all in the app. But then
we'll
the
see
movie,
if we'll buy the game.
Oh yeah, I'm not. We'll talk about that, but I just think. Am I saying Disney's in trouble? No, it's just that I just think for myself, it's just that's a lot of Star Wars very quickly, and it's just like for the game and the show is what bothers me the most, because especially if that show is the full season, that's a lot of content to watch, and then they get that game at the same time. It's just gonna be like.
But then you're looking at it also from the fact that we review things. So
it's
a lot to review.
It's a lot to review.
But I think to the average Joe Blow, I think, you have people out there that don't have an Xbox or PS4. They just, they have their TV and they go home. They're like, oh, I want to watch the show. And then you have people that are like, oh, I don't have cable or streaming apps or whatever. I have my Xbox. I'm a kid or whatever. I want to play the game. And they're just going to get the game and play it. And there's people that'll meet in the middle that'll be like, you know what? I'm going to play Fallen Order. Like, oh, but you know what? Yeah, I feel like I'll go take a break and watch an episode of Mandalorian. I think, for me, it's just Disney wants to.
And then you got the Star Wars trailers, though.
Yeah,
going,
but then you got
to see all these toys. Like, I just worry that, and you say this is like other mediums. I do worry it's also the point where mainstream people might just be like, I'm sick of seeing Star Wars. Like, if TV has like a preview for the game, a preview for the show, the app, the movie, I think some mainstream people will just be like, fuck, like it's everywhere I go. Like I'm feeling fatigued on even.
So are you feeling Star Wars fatigue?
Not I'm not being Liam, but that's why I'm worried that it could be the sense of before episode 9 gets there, people are just gonna be like, fuck, I'm so over Star Wars, like seeing all this stuff. The advantage is that's why Marvel has done a good job. Marvel most time has a bottom line of the quality put out. So until they start putting out bad movies, people are like, yeah, give me more, give me more, give me more. But I even think that the Marvel Netflix shows suffer that from a little bit, right? That even though they were spaced, you never saw, other than Iron Fist, which came out the same week as Spider-Man, but that was when they knew they were canceling it. Before that, they're always spread out. But even at that point, it was like, oh, like a show's coming out already, and it's like that's a lot of work, and that's where I think that some casual people that aren't even buying that will just be sick of seeing standees and toys. When it's just like sometimes I almost think that it should, I don't know, it's tough because they want it for the holiday season, right? But I almost think it should be the reverse, where the movie kicks it off, then you put all that stuff out, right? Because I feel like if Disney's looking at what they want most to be successful is that movie, put all your marketing and power into that, and then after that. But then if it's just so much stuff, like, are people burned out before the movie get here,
But I don't think, as a company...
I think they're trying to get that hype them up for the
movie.
As a company... What if it's the reverse hype? What if it's too much birthday?
That's too dangerous, though. As a company, though, you're looking at something as you already know what you're going to make. You're looking at the numbers of your previous films, so you're going to match that and then do some more. And that's how they're...
No, that's not a given. Look at Solo. Solo really disappointed. So they thought that, and I still say that was one, Last Jedi. 2, people didn't want Solo, but also that was only what?
It
6
was
months?
too close.
It was too close to Last Jedi, but that had 6 months in between. So you're telling me a month with all those is not too close?
But that's something that ended up teaching them, though, because all their other movies, they did 3 Star Wars movies, and they all did very, very well.
But then they have all this stuff coming out in in 1 month. That's not a
They
lesson.
do, but that's why look at Solo.
That's
Look at
insanity.
how much space has gone from Solo till now, though. It's been a huge dry spell of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So honestly, they know what they're trying to do.
So
but
let's overcram at this time that we
well,
missed.
it's the thing. Disney wants to they want to own everything. Literally, they want to buy things. They want people to think Disney.
I love the memes
And,
that like Disney, the starting of the movies, and like Warner Brothers, and
Yeah. Mickey with the glove.
Yeah.
They want to own every single area of the market, and this is one of the best ways to go about it. Literally, just everywhere you turn, there will be Disney. But I think they also know they have to drop quality content, and I think The Mandalorian is going to be very, very well. They have.
Well, that's not his argument. The Mandalorian's. You're talking about it's coming out within like a month of
I
each
know,
other.
I know. So that's why what I'm saying though, The Mandalorian doing very well. I think that'll not set people off on a fatigue kind of trend.
For you who is non-fatigue, what is it better for them to do? To drop it weekly or to drop it binge?
I think they should drop it weekly.
Really?
Yeah, because if
I'm
it's
the
only
reverse.
if it's only like 6 or 10 episodes, it'll finish way before.
No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. It would
Because
finish
10
way
episodes would
after.
be 10 weeks,
Yeah.
and a month is 4
Well,
weeks.
let's
right?
hope it's 6 episodes.
Even then, it wouldn't finish before.
It
episode
would.
nine. No.
No.
A month is 4 weeks.
Fuck.
So I feel like now that we're talking about, I feel like they almost
Yeah.
have to do a binge. They
Yeah.
almost do, or they'll say like we're gonna release the first 5 and then the next 5 next week or next month, which I
Yeah.
hope not. That's a weird system. I don't like that. So just make it binge, Disney. People are gonna take your money. Like don't worry about it. But
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it all. I'm gonna take it all in the game we're gonna talk about. That's a maybe. But the shows, the movie, I'm there for it. I just worry that I just feel like I'm gonna get somebody, and
It'd be kind of nice if it was spread off like 6 months or like half a year.
even
so.
for my pitch was even. I still thought this was too close, but September to December I think was still not as bad. But now
Yeah.
just in 1 month, that is just cramming you with Star Wars.
It is, but
Yeah.
they're gonna make
Maybe
so
they're trying
much
to use
money.
that like marketing to pump up the episode 9 movie.
synergy and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Right,
So,
because
Well.
get everyone excited for that. Oh, we got new Star Wars, all of this, and now like episode 9, it looks amazing. So,
looks amazing, Kyle. Eh?
well, I'm
You're
just saying,
turning the boat. Yeah.
I'm not really turning the boat. We'll see.
You just said it looks amazing.
Well-
you're getting hyped.
Well, like everyone, like is like that's what they want, right? They want to use this as more of a marketing tool to like pass that up. Well, I don't know what they're doing, but like my theory is this is all marketing for that episode 9.
You're not trying to get hyped, The Last Jedi hater, but you're getting hyped. You're you know when you're gonna ultra be hyped is when you're watching the Endgame movie and the previews before, and you get that Star Wars trailer on the big screen. You're gonna be fully in.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
3 out of 6 GV members so far are not impressed with the title. We've yet to hear from one though.
Yeah, and everyone likes or loves the trailer except Dylan, who said it's pretty meh. But Dylan's just a big Star Wars hater. I don't think Dylan's listening to this cast. I for sure have a feeling that the first time that he saw the Death Star and heard the laugh, he didn't know what was going on because he did in our chat. He's like, "Oh, that area looks nice with that big ship." I'm like, "That's the Death Star," but that's fine because
Yeah.
if some fucking like I don't know Fire Emblem fact came up, he would be like, "Oh, Travis, you fucking loser," and this is this and this. I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know about Smash either. I'm sorry. I just know I like the game." Do we have anything more to say on that fatigue argument or not or conversation?
No, I just
So Kyle
think,
didn't help because he's somewhere in the middle.
I'm kind of somewhere in the middle.
But
I'm sorry.
his pitch was pretty
More-
good.
more
I
my
can-
side,
I
though.
can understand that. But I think
I think it's a lot all in 1 month, but I understand what they're doing.
It just
It would
has
be nice. It would be spread out, to be honest. Like if the game came out now, or actually, I don't really want the game now.
yeah.
I would like to watch the TV show and kind of get rewatch that before like have more. So I'm gonna be in the camp that it should be spread out.
At least the game for me should at least be a week after the show. Like the same week that's a lot, and that is like Taylor said, that is just because we podcast. I know. So literally, I'm gonna binge the show, especially the show's so annoying. It comes out on a Tuesday, which is so that worries me. Why is that
Why?
nice?
It's not nice.
And then so that comes out, and then the game comes out on Friday. So I literally got to binge the show sometime during the week. We got to review it, and then do the game and play as fast, and then it's like, oh,
That's weird. Usually games drop on Tuesdays, don't
yeah,
they?
they flipped them. So
They don't know what they're doing.
no, yeah, great, they're fucked. Let's talk about this actual game, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Let's start with you because you're super positive, I imagine, on this game from what I've maybe heard.
Yeah, I
so.
mean, we had a big debate about this.
Yeah.
But I don't have fatigue for episode 3 to
Okay.
4 timeline stuff.
Taylor's never gonna have fatigue on anything Star Wars. There's nothing.
Well, a holiday special too. I wouldn't really want
you
that.
would watch it.
But yeah, so this game, when the trailer dropped, it was starting to give me the Goosebumps vibes. Not the same level as Episode 9, nowhere near that, but it had me super excited to see this character, talking about just blending in and just having to just, look incognito and
Don't stand out.
Yeah, don't stand out kind of thing. And just the whole trailer, the story driven as it was, just setting that up, and all of a sudden now he's cutting away like Venator class cruisers, which was just a super cool sequence, and just the kind of the world that he was brought into as a child and just kind of raised into as a Jedi, and this is the only thing he knows, and then everything just changing so quickly as he's not a super old like man or anything. He's still young, so this would be his world collapsing underneath him, and he has to roll with it and blend in with it. It would be so hard for a character to have to go through that. Especially a Jedi, I could imagine, a Padawan who had their master killed or something like that. But he's then thrown into another situation where obviously this guy is a friend of his and he knows the consequences of using the Force. And there's a probe droid right next to him, but he does it anyways to save this guy, and he pays the price.
They just took the exact same scene from X-Men Apocalypse when that guy is about to get hit and Magneto stops it, and they're like, "Oh, he's immune." They just ripped it right off.
And I'm okay with that. That scene was golden, But this time around, I love seeing the Inquisitors, hop in here, and it's Sister Number 2. You said it was.
Yeah, they're from a comic book series.
Yeah, so the Inquisitors are just overall just a huge badass group of guys and gals, but essentially they were people. A lot of them were temple guardians of the Jedi Temple that were actually selected, and Palpatine kind of worked his magic beforehand, and he made sure that the clones during Order 66 avoided selected targets, and then he turned them to Inquisitors.
So for English, because Taylor did this a lot, and because I'm learning about this stuff as we do the retro for Kyle and other views, the Inquisitors, if you don't know who they are, they're very trained, good soldiers. Sometimes they have the Force, right?
Oh, they all do. They're
all have
Force
the Force,
sensitive beings that work
they got
under Vader.
lightsabers, and they're just out there to hunt Jedi down in that 3 to 4 period. So that girl that was in the black, like breaking the window and that red mask.
Yeah.
That's what an Inquisitor is. So she's like she's not it's stupid Star Wars schematic. She's not a Sith or a Jedi, but she has the Force and can use the lightsaber.
They're just like assassins or whatever, Jedi hunters.
It's such a stupid
but,
role.
I think
There
overall
can only be 2 Sith, except for
only
these
2
5
Sith.
other girls that have the Force and cool.
it was very cool
That's
though
who
to
Rey
see.
is. That's her mom.
That's Rey's mom.
Maybe it is. She takes that mask off.
It's very cool though to see this whole kind of world get set up. Though we're talking about like Purge troopers, which were super badass. They look like the troopers from Utapau that worked in the 212th Battalion with Obi-Wan. They have the similar kind of head setup.
This
of
is
the clone
Taylor's
troopers.
fetish for anything stormtrooper, clone trooper. He just likes their armor.
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
It's pretty cool armor though.
it was super cool, and I just love how they get a call about maybe a Jedi here, and they come in to check it out, and then they're like, oh, we got confirmation of a Jedi, so we're calling the Inquisitors. That's just such a cool kind of like just kind of like CIA federal forces kind of, I don't know, but
I get what you're putting down.
yeah, it's super cool, and I love that it makes sense to me that I didn't know that girl was a Jedi Knight or whatever, but the fact that she is, I think it's makes sense, because I feel like if you're a Jedi Knight and you encounter someone who's younger than you and was a Jedi Padawan or is capable of the Force, you're the only way to live on is to take what you know and pass that down to someone. It's what the Sith do, for example. They take someone, someone who has the knowledge, and they seek someone who craves it, and
But what does this have to do with the game?
She's in. So that woman in the game.
Yeah.
She is a Jedi Knight.
Yeah,
So
but should we talk like this is just like background
We're
story,
talking about the
isn't it?
story of the
Yeah,
game.
because
Oh,
all we
yeah.
got was a story-driven trailer. We haven't
Yeah.
seen gameplay yet.
Of course,
so.
no gameplay. What I was going to ask you, though, because I swear in the chat that you and I were talking about that you were not a fan as well as them adding a Jedi Knight in there. Because for me, so this is the idea, is the story, this Padawan, Order 66 happens, right? All these Jedi get killed, and you got a Padawan who clearly, they know the Force, but they're very little. They don't know what to do. They're very inexperienced. And I did like the idea of, okay, what happens if you're a Padawan and you're put out in the wild, people are hunting you, and you got no master, no one to learn from. And that, to me, was the way the game was pitched, but then they're like, oh, but there is a Jedi Knight teaching him. I don't like that as much, because it's like,
they,
it takes some of the danger away. I would have liked if it's just him trying on his own to figure out the Force, and he has no
Yeah,
guidance because everyone
100%.
around him is dead.
I agree with you. I definitely, I find it interesting and I look forward to seeing it, but I definitely prefer it was not there. It's 100% like a Star Wars Rebels kind of take where they have the guy who doesn't know how to properly use his powers, and all of a sudden they throw in a Jedi Knight who knows how to use it. My hope is that they're going to show that this Jedi Knight character isn't as, great as they are, because the girl is still a Jedi Knight. They're not a Jedi Master who has all this information
Anakin
and
was
knowledge.
a Jedi Knight though, when he had Asoka.
True, but look at how that turned out.
Great.
Well, turns out.
Yeah, Kyle, what do you think about this game?
It's hard to say.
No gameplay at all.
I think for me, I have to look at the gameplay.
They've said there's no stealth. They've said, what do you remember, Taylor? What they're calling the combat? Is it like free flow fighting or something?
Yeah, it's something that it's not a button masher, so you can't just go in there and just mash. But it's something if you work hard at it, you will get much better at the gameplay.
They said people could just pick it up and play. This could also be, because that's my problem without seeing gameplay. That could just be them talking it
like
up.
this story looks good.
Yeah, you're a fan of the story then?
Yeah, like I think it's a cool concept what they're doing, and it's a little bit different. But like for me, I kind of have to wait until I see the gameplay and kind of go, well, is this something I would play or not? Because I don't know. Like for me, like obviously like all the Battlefronts and like
Not for you.
Pardon me?
Not for you, really.
Well,
We're going to play some today, though. I'm excited.
yeah, we're gonna play some today.
Yeah,
I'm
the
excited.
gameplay, from what I heard, isn't essentially like that. It's more like like Uncharted and Devil
Yeah.
May Cry kind of style.
Yeah, and it's not the same
yeah.
engine either, so it's not
Yeah.
Frost. So and it is Respawn who did the games like Titanfall. What
Yeah.
I've never played, but they've all been received well. So
Yeah.
it is technically, and that's what some people are worried. It is the same company making that game, but it is a different offshoot company making the game. So it's not the same people that did the
Yeah.
Battlefront games.
Yeah, I think like the storyline that they've projected and like the graphics look really well. I guess they're generated game graphics, but
Yeah,
they
all
look
cutscenes and
cutscenes like they look amazing. Like it looks interesting. It's just will be for me. I have to wait until the gameplay comes out and kind of go from there if that's something I would want to play or not.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll probably buy it.
You think so?
Probably.
Wow. Yeah, I'm in that camp. I am in the camp of I will probably purchase it. It's all based on reviews, to be honest. Just because, and once I see gameplay, that'll help. I remember it's a difficult situation because I remember the way I'm going to compare this is when, and I'm sorry for YouTube, but it was when Spider-Man came out. But when they released that teaser trailer, I was just hyped because they didn't announce the game; it just came out, right? So with this game, it was different. We knew this game was coming out. There's a Star Wars game, so that initial hype of like, oh, a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, I guess, a little letdown if I wanted to just see some sort of gameplay, just a little snippet. We didn't get that because once I saw Spider-Man gameplay, I was like, okay, I'm in. It reviewed well. I was like, I'm double in. I'm all the way. So that's what I'm hoping happens with this. The story, I am kind of done with 3 to 4, but it's fine. Whatever. I'll play it if it reviews well and I like it. But it is just that, I don't know. We know this guy's going to die. He's going to die, and you know it. And don't lie to me because I said that to Rogue One leading up the whole way. And like, no,
I believe it. I think he'll die.
Yeah, and that's the problem of, like, that's why I'm excited for The Mandalorian because, like, we don't know what could happen. We know that the Empire wins these battles because Luke is the only one. Taylor's not going to like what I'm going to bring up here, but actually I'll save that for the end. I'm a huge fan of the actor, Cameron Monaghan. He plays the Joker on Gotham, and he is next to Heath Ledger, the best Joker. He's fantastic, so I'm excited for that. I do wish that they did something a little different. I wish that, I know people have wanted a different race
You mean
or
the
gender.
voice actor?
No, I meant, like, I don't know if it need to be another white guy. Like, I wish he could have been an alien even, like that sort of deal. Like, so people saying, because it's tough for me, I'm fine with them doing a different race or a gender, but I just really like that actor, so I'd like to see him. But obviously, you're not going to have him play like a black guy, and that won't go over well. So, like, I wish he was like an alien or something different, right? Just like he's not like Luke, but it's like he's a young guy who's unexperienced. It's like, well, we've kind of seen that before, and that's where with Force Unleashed, that storyline I really like because like Darth Vader had a secret apprentice, and it's like, oh, that's cool. This is just he's a Jedi that's being hunted. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So
Well, would the gameplay be kind of like Force Unleashed?
I would hope. I think
Yeah.
it'll.
No, I still heard it was different than that. And I heard it too. Like, it's not a force spam either. You can't just keep using force abilities.
I do love Force Unleashed for that because Force Unleashed is more of a hack and slash, right? So I think it is more of a. It won't be like this, but it is similar like what you said. Uncharted. I've heard. What is the hard game where everyone dies all the time? Dark Souls. I've heard that where I heard it, but I don't think it'll be that level. I think it is. You do have to plan your attack. I do think it's like you could use a force push and there'd be like a bar that you have to wait till it fills up or something like that. So almost sort of like those Batman and Spider-Man Arkham games. I'd love it for something like that, or even the Lord of the Ring ones.
Well, Titanfall has like their movements. They do such a great job on the movements and the gameplay and the fluidity of just your character and moving, especially in between, giant mech suits and your character. So I'm very excited to see how they incorporate that to the actual lightsaber combat.
Yeah, and I know I sound down. I am excited to have like a single player game. I just hope it reviews well, and then I'll be all in it. I'll be playing it. I would love another Star Wars game. I loved Force Unleashed. Knights of the Old Republic is one of my favorite games of all time. They haven't been clear of when the time frame is, but I feel like it's pretty close to Return or
well, they said
it's
early, just right after Revenge of the Sith.
Which that's fine, because Taylor's gonna bring up this argument that we don't need to get into. But I'm not a fan of Jedi's around. So the movies come out, and to me, the way, and I just watched the trilogy last night again because I was hyped after episode 9 chat. The way they frame Luke is Jedi's have been extinct for so long. He is the one that he's the first new one, needs to bring balance to the Force and everything like that, and he's coming back. And to me, he's special because they think he's chosen one, but it's also because we've had no Jedi for so long that he is our savior. Where there's stuff like animated shows like Rebels where they make Jedi's like, oh, they were around like 5 years before. I don't like that at all, because to me, that takes away the specialness of Luke, because the drought doesn't feel as bad if it's like, oh yeah, but there was a guy like a year ago, but he died. It's like, to me, Luke should be so special because like we've seen nobody other than Yoda and Obi-Wan. So I like the time frame as far as that. So I don't know if you want to mention.
Well, then my pitch and counter for that, which we won't get into a huge debate, but like
here we go.
There was literally like 10,000s, of Jedi at the time of the Purge, and only a handful of them were actually killed at the temple. So it makes sense that there's still thousands of them still surviving after the Purge has begun, and they're all in hiding. Now, yes, Rebels, Ezra goes missing like over a year out before A New Hope, and then you have other characters, but then...
And there's Jedi's around in Return the Jedi as well, which is annoying.
There are, well...
Because this is the thing.
Hang on. You got to have your spiel.
Let me establish just for Kyle, so he knows the mainstream people, or that they may not know. Like the animated show called Rebels, it happens sometimes concurrently to the trilogy. So it's like in the movies, sequels, prequels, they don't mention at all these Jedis. But in these animated shows, they're like, oh, but there were Jedis around in the original trilogy. When we've not heard about that at all. So that's why I just ignored, because if it's not in the movie, I don't care.
In Rebels, it's all though before the original trilogy.
Why is Asoka alive during Return of the Jedi?
Ahsoka's alive at the end of Return of the Jedi.
That's still the same time.
But we don't know where she is. And again, she's not a Jedi. But hear me out.
But she has a lightsaber and uses the Force.
Save it for after my spiel here. So
no, girls can't be Jedis. That's how that works.
Oh no.
But yes, Ahsoka was still alive, but we don't have confirmation of what she's been doing or anything like that. She is the only one, from my knowledge, that is still kicking. But there are Force users. It's just like how I said, there are thousands of Jedi that still survive the Purge, and they're just all in hiding.
Yeah,
but what makes them different though from Luke is, Obi-Wan was a Jedi Master, Yoda was a Jedi Master, and they were aware there's other Force sensitive beings out there. They could have gone out and recruited a bunch of like newborn children that were Force sensitive and trained them as a new order of Jedi secretly, but they didn't, because they knew when they waited that Luke and his lineage is what was the key to winning. They knew he's a Skywalker, they knew he'd be strong in the Force, and they knew that they could train him to be the Jedi that could turn Vader. All these other Jedi, if they focused on, Vader would have cut them down, and Obi-Wan and Yoda knew that these other new Jedi that they trained wouldn't have had an effect because they aren't that connection to Vader. They aren't that possibility to overthrow him. That's what makes Luke still so significant and strong.
This is why I'm just a movies guy, because that's the case. Why wouldn't you, even though they know, hey, these guys 1-on-1 can't take on Vader, let's train these Jedi so when we find Luke, he'll have like 6 buddies with him.
Still wouldn't matter.
But yeah, it would.
No, because honestly, Vader could still cut all of them down.
But if Luke's with them?
Every time Vader has fought Luke, he is always held back.
But the good thing is, imagine this time when Luke is fighting Vader and he's held back, and then all of a sudden other Jedis come back, and it's like, oh shit, I'm really outnumbered.
Yeah, but Vader's not going to hold back.
He wouldn't hold back against him. Exactly.
But it doesn't matter. If he's focused, if he's tied up with Luke, he is at a dead tie with Luke, and they're fighting, and then 6 other people.
Yeah, he'll just push Luke away.
But then those people come, and then they take out Vader, and Vader kills them all, and then Luke would just get him.
Yeah, but we don't know if
It's
we
not
don't know if Luke would even be
Vader's
trained enough
OP.
still to do that.
But that's
Vader
the,
is OP.
But that's the reason why I think none of this matters is because, and you couldn't give me this point, in the movies they don't talk about these Jedis at all. I think this is fun stuff they do to fill canon, to because they're bored and they can't, maybe sometimes they're restricted. You got to tell a story in between this time frame. But the movies have never been like, oh, around the time of the original trilogy, there was other, like when
But
Luke,
there weren't other Jedis.
but it doesn't matter. Other Force users, other people with lightsabers, none of that
There
is
weren't.
talked about.
Well, they don't have to though, because this is the story about Luke. And that being said, you have to assume though.
Yeah,
and let me pitch this to Kyle.
Oh,
so
no. Here we
now,
go.
would you say that there were still, for thousands of years, people are still being born that were capable of using the Force? The Jedi would go out and hunt them. Do you think that all of a sudden stopped, or do you imagine in the OG trilogy, outside of Luke, there'd still be kids that are born that could do the Force?
I don't know. I don't like. How do you get like so?
You're
I
just
guess,
born
for
with
me,
it.
You're just born with this force.
Yeah.
I think maybe you might know, but you just don't know how to use it. But like, I have no idea.
Mhm.
But that's what I mean. The problem with your argument is those people like Ezra, Canon, and these are some deep cuts for you, and Ahsoka, they're using the Force. They have lightsabers. And you can say, that to me is just schematics when they go, Ahsoka's not a Jedi. It doesn't matter. She has a lightsaber and she's using the Force.
She's a Jedi.
She's
But
a
they
fucking
don't.
Jedi.
They don't have to
It's
mention her though throughout the trilogy.
But
It doesn't
that's
matter.
I know, but that's why I don't like the point of her being around, because they're talking about Luke being the like one and only of kind of being a new breed.
I kind of like take like Rebels like kind of out from like the movies that we watch, like the live
that's what I
action
do too.
stuff.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like for like someone who just is kind of not in and out, but like not as invested as you are, Taylor, it makes it harder to like kind of follow what's happening. Like, yeah, like you get excited because you see all these characters from like Rebels, but at the same time, like if I'm watching the movies like mainstream, like I like just expect like, okay, like there should be no other Jedis, like this is what I'm watching. But when I watch, like sometimes I'll watch Clone Wars as well, and I just like take my mind out. It's like, okay, like this is a whole new like it's its own show identity, or entity. Sorry,
Because I know it doesn't work that way. It's supposed to all go together. But for me, I almost sometimes look at the way Marvel and comics are. Right, when I read the comics, I can separate that from the movies. That's why until the movies, they've never gone their way to make canon important. That's the thing. They've never been like, oh, you need to know this character from Rebels, because I think they're like, no, we don't need to do that.
True, but then
I
there's,
feel like it's like almost two different storylines that they're going with.
Yeah, that's the
and
problem.
And I think if they were to do Rebels, I guess again try to make it more
like a live action version.
not
or something?
live. Well, I guess not live action, but try to incorporate. Okay, what did the original movies have, and then like keep the like same continuity. Because it feels like right now, like just listening to back and forth, the like what's her name? Asoka.
Yeah.
Like she's like technically supposed to be still alive.
Yeah.
But
while
like,
all this stuff is going
while
on.
all this is going
Yeah.
on, and like
And
at the same time,
yeah.
it's like
but then it makes sense too, because like Obi-Wan didn't go and meet up with Yoda and start doing things like
Because
what
they're
the
in
Jedi.
hiding. They're in
yeah,
hiding.
exactly. They go off and
But
they
this
hide.
is wartime.
Exactly.
Ahsoka's young. She should be there helping Luke on the Death Star.
But
Even
none
if
of
she
the
can't take out-
None of the Jedi went out to go and find Luke out in the galaxy.
Yeah, maybe
he
that's
just
the
kind
problem.
of stumbled.
But that's
upon
why I
them.
like there being no
No
Jedi,
Jedi.
because there's no one to find him. Because now, even if you're like, okay, fine, maybe Ahsoka can't beat Vader, which she almost did, so that's another fucking lie, by the way. She could be with Han and Leia, helping them out, taking some stormtroopers out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. That's why I ignore that, because I don't want to think. I like to think it's Luke and Leia and no one else, because then if there's all these people bopping around the galaxy, why didn't you help? It's the same reason why. Look at Captain Marvel. Before we saw the movie, we're like, why is she the way she is? And then spoilers for that movie quickly. They go, oh well, she's been in a different universe, helping a different planet. And you go, okay, that's why she wasn't with the Avengers. But before you're like, oh, so she's been around for decades and she just never flew by and was like, hey, I'll help you with Thanos. So that's why they need to explain it, but they don't.
True, but then it's
They
even
don't.
as something like Last Jedi, where Ryan Johnson said, or JJ introduced Rey, who is a strong, powerful Jedi, and there's no other Jedis except Luke hiding out there somewhere. But then all of a sudden, she's not the only one who uses the Force. You got Broom Kid who can use the Force. Just goes to show there are other people out there. There are other people out there that are capable of using the Force. It's not just this one special girl named Rey, and that's what Ryan Johnson instilled. There are lots of other people who can use it.
But that's interpretation, because to me with Rey, I never took that as she is the one only, especially just because the title of the movie is The Force Awakens. To me, that makes more sense, like, oh, the Force is spreading throughout the galaxy.
Yeah.
For me, the first Star Wars is called A New Hope, That's Luke. That's singular hope. It's not the new hopes.
How did you
know?
not get that with Rey? She was the only one using
Because
the
that's
Force.
not talked about with her really though. It's not. There's not a Yoda. There's not a Ben being like they've been
But
extinct
it's
for years.
It's
but
highlighting though, because she says like something is in me. You know, it was awakened or whatever.
yeah, but
like,
do they ever say she's the only one that does that? And that is the point last year, where in the original trilogy, other than Leia, who is his twin sister, they don't show Broom Kid over here. They don't show that. It's supposed to be this family is the bloodline that has it, and that's it for now. Where Rey, that's the point of Last Jedi, whether you like it or not. Well, one of the points is that the Force isn't just with one people; it's all over. But you could argue that's because Luke was around. He trained people. He found those people. You know,
Yeah.
and that
But
would
that's
help.
just
That's
it.
helped awake those. Why didn't Ahsoka help?
But
Why
that's just
didn't
it.
Ken?
Luke went out to find people that were Force sensitive, people that were Force sensitive that already existed out there in the galaxy. He just tracked down some that were you know a little bit older and stuff. You know, that's
But most-
again when
but most of
Obi-Wan
those were
says
kids.
when
Those were
Obi-Wan
all kids.
when Obi-Wan says,
Like
"Oh, the
little
Jedi
old.
are all but extinct," you know, he's saying Jedi because Jedi is a title that you earn through this training, but it doesn't dismiss the fact that there were kids out there that were still Force sensitive. Luke was important.
And that's what I mean. They're
because he was a Skywalker.
That's what I'm fine with there being kids. I don't want kids running around lightsabers fighting people. They
They
should.
don't have that though.
What
All
is Ahsoka? She's out there
Ahsoka,
fighting people.
She is doing her own
I
thing.
feel she's like a teenager at this point.
Because she's like a teenager adult, but it doesn't matter. If you say kids, if you can say in the original trilogy, there's people out there with the Force, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're out there using it, fighting other people, having a lightsaber,
Ahsoka is the only one.
but that's
The
still
the
one.
only one.
And then there's Ezra, who's missing, right? Who
But
could
we don't
still
know.
be out
He
there.
could be dead.
And
We
that's
don't
my
know.
problem with this character, Cal. He better fucking die because I don't want to be like, oh, he could have been around in though. And it's like, oh no, I don't want that. It's the same way in Force Unleashed. That's why I don't like the second game. The first game is succinct by itself. The second game, which I never played, he's like secretly possibly could have been at the Battle of Endor. He helped start the revolution. It's like, no, I don't like when they mess with the OG movies. Like, those are the movies. Just leave them there and tell a whole different story by yourself, you know? So
I'm on the other end of the
I know
the
you are.
stick with that because I like that, you know, you have these three movies and they're still so open that you can build everything around them. Like your Rebels, your Clone Wars, your prequels, your sequels, and the books. There's so many different avenues that can be built on.
I
where
think that's
it
the issue.
fits.
There's so many different avenues that you can go off. They're having like continuity. Like there's not like one main storyline that like there is a main
for the
storyline
films, yeah.
for the
yeah.
films, but like then it's very in and out, and that's why it's like this gray area of like all these good
True,
questions,
but
like
that's-
solid questions.
That's
And
where
that's why I like
think
the
Disney,
Mandalorian, because it's after all that stuff. And that's why even Clone Wars I don't mind, because it's before all that
I love
stuff.
how this has turned into like just a Star Wars
Oh,
cast.
yeah.
Oh, 100%.
But sorry guys, not even talking about the trailers anymore.
we have nothing more to add on the trailer.
But
We
that's
talked about
that's
it.
why I think Disney did the right thing, you know, because if you look at Legends, there were so many stories on top of stories that didn't coincide anymore. Like George Lucas was going crazy ham with these stories, like fucking wild. But then Disney came in and, you know, they wrote Rebels, they wrote, you know, Mandalorian, they wrote all these different stories that can coincide and fit in because they dismissed all that extra stuff that just was too crazy, you know. But
And I think that's just why I like the idea, and to bring back, you know, of Mandalorian, because it just does seem like it is in the universe, but it's not going to affect anybody. You may see
Yeah,
like
that's what I want to.
IG-88. You might see characters we know, like whoever that Devil Horn guy is, or maybe you'll see like a Akbar. It's a like you'll see somebody, but I just don't like stuff that affects the OG movies away, where it's like, oh, this was really happening, this was really happening. So for me, I just take it. I'm like, that's not really happening. That doesn't exist, and I just move along. Where I know you're a big canon boy. You love your books,
I
you
am
love
a
your
canon
comics, you
boy.
love your animated show, and I respect that. But that's where
I
I
knew
go.
I knew our debate wasn't getting anywhere, so I started ending it with gifts yesterday.
Oh yeah, he
Just
was. Me and Taylor went for a
The
while, but
perspectives.
I think that, and that's the unfortunate thing. It's just a matter of opinion, right? Because
Yeah.
technically in the canon, yeah, there are other Jedi. I just go, well, I don't like that. I think that hurts the specialness of the story. So for me, there's not. Do we have anything to actually say on this game?
It's
Are we
day
got-
one
we
for me. I'll get it.
Oh yeah, I know you're. This is my last question about the game. They're very very cagey about that lightsaber he gets. Clearly, one thing I like the hilt. I like the fork kind of hilt, but then the end is like almost like broken or burned and whatnot. They said it will evolve, but they said they can't tell the origins. Here you can use your canon facts.
100% looks like a Jedi Temple Guardian's lightsaber. They were double bladed and they had
Okay.
that fork looking like hilt to it as well.
So it's like a double blade one that's been cut in half.
I think so, or maybe it was a Temple Guardian that got killed and he took it, or maybe it has something to do with the Inquisitor who used to be a Temple Guardian.
I got a theory. So if they said it's going to evolve throughout the game, and if it was a double blade, does that mean he could repair it to be a double bladed?
I think 100%. You get to change the color and you get to repair it.
I'm
Change it to purple.
I'm hoping for the color because this has happened with Rey. This is my whole theme of the weekend for Star Wars Celebration. Get the hashtag going. Hashtag more than blue because I'm just sick and tired of blue lightsabers. This character has one, and if he can't change in the game, I'm going to be so pissed. And I did worry because they didn't say that would be customizable. They just said it would evolve. So, and same with Rey. I get it's Luke and Anakin's lightsaber. Just give her a different color. There's other colors out there. I'm sick of just seeing blue. I get it because that's what our parents know. They're like, oh, it's a lightsaber, but there's green, there's purple, there's yellow. There you do black, do something different, do an orange one. I'm just sick and tired of blue. Get it out of my life. We've seen it for years. Change it up. That's my thoughts on that. So I hope in the game you can change the color. I really do.
You might. Maybe it's a customized. Maybe it's one of those EA things where you have to buy into it.
Buy your colors.
I think for the game purposes, it's just a staple to start off with. Like Force Unleashed, you start off with red, then you could go like black, green, gold, anything.
We need to see
some
that.
sick
I
stuff.
want some gold.
Need a rainbow one? No. Yeah, I want gold too. That's just like that's how this
In
world.
Force Unleashed, that was cool because you could actually go unstable and stuff like that with your crystals too,
Yeah,
right? Just like Kylo Ren.
Kylo with his like
unstable one.
So.
Yeah, that was cool.
Force Unleashed, great game. You know, just give me that remastered, and I'm excited. Anything else to add?
No, that was good.
Taylor,
times.
give us the links.
Links. So with your internet connection in the search bar, ladies and gentlemen, go onto Facebook, Geekverse space podcast space bar, not the space word, and Twitter, Geekverse Cast, YouTube, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, just everywhere. Just Google Geekverse Podcast.
Everywhere in
Literally
the world.
everywhere.
Literally
you know.
Google us because there are sites that we never submit our podcast to, and they're just on
They're
there.
there.
Yeah.
You can even type in Geekverse Podcast on the Google Images, and there's every image we have. It's really random.
Yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can go down to the description down below that has the links for the video, the audio. I forgot to pimp this at the beginning, but please give us a review if you like this conversation, whether it was the breaking down the trailers, whether it was the debating. Check out our episode 9 breakdown. Me and Taylor did like a whole 2 hours on episode 9 trailer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. You should listen. It's some spicy stuff. But if you like what we've been doing or what we're going to do next week, Taylor's for sure reviewing Curse of La Llorona. I'm hoping to join him. And then after that's Avengers Endgame. We got lots of stuff coming. So please subscribe, and everything we're putting out, you'll get. But also go review. We're trying to hit 200 reviews on iTunes. That helps us hit our next milestone. As you can see, soundboard, mics, everything like that. What you guys do does matter. It does help us. It does help us grow, expand the channel. So if we can get 200 reviews, that would be great. And we're also trying to get 10,000 likes on Facebook. So those are 2 milestones that kind of help us jump to the next level. You know, we're in Geekverse Phase 2 right now. So we're trying to already get to Phase 3. It's going to take some time, but with your help, we can do that. Patreon, $1 amount, you get half the content, $5 you get everything. We got lots of good stuff. So until next time, it will not be boring, and may the force be with you
Always.
You want to say anything, Gal?
No, have fun, guys.